Yeah, ready to go.
Ready to roll?
Yes.
All right, let's time is money, as we all know, and thank you for spending your time with us today. Just some brief housekeeping notes here. This session will be recording. We'll be sending that out. It'll likely be ready Friday or Monday, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure to ask your questions. Avi, do we share the slides? Yeah, we share the slides with folks, right?
Yes, the slides actually we share only in the inside our circle community, but otherwise we share the recording. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we reserve the slides for our agency insider members, but everybody will be getting a recording. So some other housekeeping. If you have any questions, that's generally what Q&A is for, but I know that's hard to find. So if you can't find that Q&A, feel free to ask your questions in chat. When I'm not speaking, I'll be monitoring in there. We also have Chen here, who's going to be monitoring that as well. So if something comes up where like there's a level of confusion, you're telling me, hey, Justin, slow down talking or anything like that, she'll be able to relay those messages. And when Avi's presenting later in the presentation, I'll be living in the chat and Q&A as well. So please use that so that we can make sure to get all of your very urgent questions answered. So without further ado, again, welcome. We are going to talk today about how you can unlock agency growth by adding a new service or offering at your agency. So really, we're looking at how you can profitably scale your agency by adding PPC as a bolt-on service. So we're getting very specific and, somewhat self-serving, to be quite honest. Diving in, what we're going to cover today, I really want to dig into the big problem that faces every agency, and it's a problem that shows its head more often than not. And even when you think you've completely conquered it, it can show up again. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We will be digging into why we believe PPC services are the best best bolt-on solution for agencies. Mainly, it's really easy for clients to understand. Then we're going to talk about like the nitty-gritty. So like how to package PPC services, and then how to price your PPC to maintain wide margins, and how to pitch it to clients. And then I also have a bit of a question for folks at the end in terms of like what we should be covering in the future, or something you might be interested in. All right. So dig in, Avi. I'll let you introduce yourself, or we could flip it, but I'll let you introduce yourself, then I'll introduce myself there.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm Avi, and I think I've done enough of these. People have seen me before, so it's great. Let's move on. This will be on slides. And we'll talk more.
Yeah, cool. Hey, hi, I'm Justin. I came on as president and co-owner of IPPC earlier this year. Passed at digital marketer and just been in the agency space and the agency game for a long time. I'll leave it at that because quite frankly, no one really cares. They're here to learn about content. You have my LinkedIn up there. Please connect, reach out. You also have my email. In a remote world, it gets lonely. So feel free to shoot me an email anytime you're feeling like it if you have any questions about things. Anybody here is likely you have to be on the InvisiblePPC list at this point. You know who we are. We do done for you white label services, and we specialize in 64 smart niches. Also, our parent company, Kuware, that's a full service marketing agency that's been around for 14 years. And we specialize in e-commerce as a service. And one thing I'm very excited about that we talked at length with the other day with folks is FCMO. All right. So that's out of the way. Let's talk about the big problem. Okay. There is a single problem that faces every agency, and it's this: growth stalls. Growth, if it hasn't stalled for you yet, it will. If you just broke out of a stall, it will stall again. And why is that? So there's a few main reasons that this is occurring. It's one, you haven't diversified acquisition channels. So you have a lack of channel diversity, right? So most agencies, and actually people in the chat, feel free to let's get involved. Let's make this more involved. How many of you are still like heavily relying on referrals, or heavily relied on referrals early on? Let's see. I'll give people a second there. Who's still highly referral based? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yep. And here's the thing, referrals are great. Referrals are how you get started, right? But you can get a little too comfortable when it comes to referrals. And so what happens when the referrals stop, right? How do you start growing again, right? And when you're a smaller time agency, you don't have enough time to invest properly in your own SEO, your own paid acquisition, your own partnerships, your own joint ventures, right? You're kind of in this mode of like, do as I say, not as I do, right? Because you're telling your clients you have to do all these things, but you can't quite do it for yourself yet because you're too busy trying to fulfill for the clients. And that's where the next problem comes in, where you have no capacity to scale your operation. So you are stuck on just fulfilling for clients. So you're not able to grow and break into additional channels. And then what's even worse is you run into issues for scaling for additional clients. So you run into a bit of a problem where even if you had the lead flow, you don't have the capacity to scale with your in-house talent, right? You end up having an overburdened team that starts taking shortcuts to meet demand. Who wouldn't? I'll take a shortcut every day. I'm sorry to say it, like, but if there is a shortcut, people will find a way if they're overburdened, right? And then even further, there's definitely going to be a lack of documentation and expertise. There's going to be a skills gap problem. So if you're struggling to meet the demands of a client and to actually meet the demands of your own business, you're going to have a really, really hard time documenting how to scale. So there's a whole lot of problems coming in there, and that's going to stall your growth. And then the next one, there's little to no client expansion opportunities, right? You can't just do more of the same service most of the time. Let's try this. Say you're an SEO agency. You work specifically on pure technical SEO. You can't just do like more SEO for a single client, right? Sure, you can add on other things like content marketing or things like that, but that's where you can expand on the actual implementation side of things. But you can't go, yes, Mr. or Mrs. Client, I can absolutely do like 10 times more SEO. Pay me, please. It just doesn't work like that. So you need to have the ability to add on and bolt on services or additional things that you can get paid for. And you can't do that as a just standard specialist, right? So then the other thing you're into and where growth absolutely stalls, this is just, like the name of the game, like your churn rates are matching or exceeding your acquisition rates. So this is really an effect of the first main problem where you have a lack of channel diversity and the inability to scale because your team's being spread too thin. When you're at or over capacity, quite frankly, quality suffers and clients will not tolerate it. Like here's something that I've learned over time. One in the education space and also in the agency space is that it's not what you've done for them, it's what you've done for them most recently, right? That's what's important. You could have done some amazing work. You could have taught, like in the education space, you could have taught somebody some of the most amazing concepts, but if you haven't done it recently, they're going to think it's their idea. It was their piece. And the same thing, if you haven't delivered in a way that is absolutely meaningful, it's going to be, what have they done for me recently? So, and then finally, excuse me, I should close the chat when I'm talking because I see those and I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that a little bit more. And then finally, the client perception that the job is done. So the other problem is where growth will stall is clients think that once they've been working with you for a few months, that they can do it, or that they're unsure what you're doing. So one of the things we do at IPPC, we have kind of two columns for how we evaluate how accounts are doing. One is just strictly performance. And then the other is going to be around like, what's their status? Because clients that aren't communicative, sure, it seems great on paper, like, oh, they think we're on autopilot, we're rolling. Those are the people that are actually more at risk than you think, because they're not talking to you as much. Again, they're thinking that, oh, the job has been completed. And we all know that's not the case. We all know that. We know that there's a lot of work to be done. There is no set and forget in this space. So the fact of the matter is growth will stall. Whether you're relying too heavily on an individual channel You don't have the capacity to scale your operations to meet the demand that you currently have, which is going to cause, client churn issues. And there's little to no, that's what it was. I spelt no wrong, dummy Justin, client expansion opportunities. So, all right, here's the thing. What do I do? That's what we're all here to figure out. What the heck do we do about this, right? And there's three kind of options or three solutions I have in place that I think that you can look to alleviate some of these major issues. The first is to become what I refer to as a hybrid specialist. And I joke about this a lot whenever I start likening marketing to doctors, because it must be my inflated marketing ego. But in general, what we want to be as a hybrid specialist is you want to mix what you're ridiculously good at with strategy, right? So you want to look at offering consultation sessions and offering strategic sessions, but not for free. These should be planned out sessions where you are going to show them, where you understand their business and show where they're having pitfalls. Now, here's the caveat here. You can't do everything that you're going to prescribe, right? You're not going to be in a situation where no marketing agency can do everything. That's just what it is. But you're going to find issues that you won't know how to actually deliver on. Some of them you will be able to deliver on. And if those meet their overall needs, that's where you should start prescribing. That's where you start saying, we should focus here. You shouldn't come to people saying, I'll do your SEO for you, right? Because people are pitching people like that a dime a dozen. What you need to be talking to them about is, I can help you grow your business. I want to understand your business problems, and then I will prescribe you the solutions that you need to meet your overall business goals, right? You want to come in as a partner there, and then when you have your specific service that you know that you can deliver on, your superpower, the thing you're ridiculously good at, if that can fit within your prescription, great, then go do it. But if you aren't able to do that, that's when you have to look towards service partners in other areas that can deliver on your behalf, right? You don't want to try to take on the world and then lose the client because you took something you're fairly weak at, because what they need isn't what you can deliver. You can still be the face in these scenarios. So that's what comes next, is when you get into this more strategic specialists, and I guess that's a subset of what an FCMO, it's very similar to what a fractional CMO would be doing. That's when you need to start looking at who can get the work done, right? When you're a hybrid specialist or FCMO or anything in those ranges, you're the one that's saying, here's what you need to do. So you're saying, but you aren't saying, I'll be the one doing it. You can start facilitating that, whether they have an in-house team or you have a team of folks, or you have different people that you can be working with. So you could start adding complementary services to your overall offering, whether you're the one delivering it or not. If you have someone that you trust that can do it, that's really the name of the game. You want to be playing like in agency expert mode. You don't want to build this massive agency. You want to build a high revenue agency, right? So let's say if you're adding a complementary service and you're in content marketing. Content marketing is a great service. It can provide a lot, but what if you could start offering things like technical SEO or follow-up campaigns or paid social for distribution? That would be a good way to add a complementary service. And let's not talk about delivery on those. These are just things that work in those that you could offer that are complementary to your core offering. SEO, great bolt-on is PPC, paid social, content production. Even though most SEO folks will be offering content production already, but you can look at premium content production versus just blog content. So content with a plan, essentially. If you're a web development agency, you could be adding, you just built them the website. Like you said, we had that website in 1997 for that bike company. Let's start sending more traffic there. How can you do that? SEO, PR, PPC, right? If you're a cold outreach firm, you could also be specializing in follow-up content, actually writing the content, building the automations, doing the stuff that, that people also need within that service. So just doing your core offering is useful, but incomplete without all of these pieces in place. That gives you a lot of opportunity to expand your business. And then finally, the last one here is your referral partner, right? You can find people that you say, hey, I have this opportunity for you. Can you do, will you take this business on? It adds literally zero overhead to your business, and it generates revenue on leads you can't work with. This is actually one of my favorite things to do when I'm talking with other agencies in the pay-per-click space. So I like if you're working with, very specialized PPC firms that take on like massive clients, they tend to disqualify more leads than they take, and they pay a lot of money for those leads. So what works for us is reaching out to them and see if we can help them monetize their leads a little bit better. You can do that across the board, whether it's people that are working with different size companies, different types of companies within your niche, or within your service offering, or you can find people that are within complementary services that you don't have the team to fulfill, whether you have the in-house team or an outsourced team to do it. So that's a way that you can help generate revenue on the leads you can't work with. And likewise, how they can generate leads on the revenue, they can generate revenue on the leads they couldn't work with. So it's a really good win-win. But there's a problem here. You have absolutely no control in this scenario, right? You're not the one delivering. So you have to make sure you trust anybody you're doing a referral partnership with, and it's just less money, but it's less money for doing nothing. So it's, you have to take what you can there. So those are really the three options I see that you could kind of go after to tackle some of the main problems I was talking about earlier when your growth stalls. On the hybrid specialist side, that's going more, opening up a strategic offering and becoming the prescriber. On the complementary service side, it's like, hey, what are things that also go with what I'm offering? And then you have to then solve for who actually does it, which is the caveat there. And then you have on the referral partner side, adds zero overhead, less money, but it's money on nothing. And you're actually able to generate revenue on the leads you can't work with, and vice versa for your referral partner. We have a nice little chart here. I'm not going to read through this line by line, but what I wanted to look at here was to say, hey, internal versus fulfillment versus referral partners, where green is optimal, yellow is okay. The red is suboptimal or not terribly great. And so internal is just the internal team. Generally have a high cost, fulfillment partners and referral partners. Referral partners has no cost. And then fulfillment partners, very low cost in consideration. And then, yeah, just take a look at this. I don't want to dig into it too much, but what I really wanted to focus on here is, and obviously, again, biased, but a fulfillment partner is a pretty good option, especially is not just for organizations who are starting out, but also for the mature agencies that are trying to make sure to widen their margins and to scale up. Right. So I'll share at least, I know for people that aren't in the Agency Insider program, I'll at least share this screenshot with you so you can review it, because I'm not going to spend as much time here. So today's focus that I really want to be digging into is adding on bolt-on services. So living in that secondary solution, right? Of how do I get complementary services and how do I fulfill on that, right? And specifically, I want to talk about why PPC is the perfect bolt-on solution for damn near any agency. So the first reason is that clients want more of two things. Well, the big thing they really want is revenue. But on the leading metric side of things, they want to see more traffic and they want to see more conversions, right? They want to see that the effort that they're putting in and investing is turning into something. And traffic is a great leading measure, assuming it's qualified, to generating the leads, and then leads to conversions is, based on how well they can close there. But clients want to see those two things. And why PPC is so great at this is it has a much shorter results window, just in general, right? Anybody on the call, is anybody in here an SEO agency? They specialize specifically in SEO. Drop it in the chat real quick. There's got to be, maybe not. And I know I'm going hard on SEO folks right now, so sorry. But one of the objections you have to overcome, or the expectations you have to be sure to set, is SEO is the long play, right? for the people who wanted to rank, #1 on Google, they needed to be, the best time to start in Google, to start investing in organic was not just yesterday, it was years ago, right? But the second best time is now. So that's where you can start digging into that, but they're not going to see the results right away. They will not be seeing the results right away, and you have to mitigate their expectations. The great thing about PPC is not only will they start seeing results within a much shorter window and far less than 8 weeks, and not like in months when it comes to like content marketing and those other things, they'll literally see their ads show up. If they are, you might be not excluding their IP well enough, but they're going to get stoked. They're going to get so excited to see their business online. Like, hey, we're #1 on Google now, but it's a ad. Or, oh, I was on, X site and I saw our display ads. That's awesome to them. Like a small business owner who's looking to generate leads, like, hey, I know these ads are out there and I know that they're trying to generate something for me. They get to see it. They'll see the increase in traffic to their site. When we work with our partners, we give them a real-time dashboard. They get to see the increases and see the results of their effort on one of the, what some people will say is fairly meaningless to the business until it turns into revenue. But it's exciting to see those peaks, that growth. This effort is something you see quickly, and then they'll see the increase in new leads. And once they start seeing their potential leads or their potential book of business growing, that's when they get really excited, and that's when they stay with you, right? PPC is phenomenally great at doing this as a service. The other thing that's awesome about it too, it's easy to calculate ROI. Like these are very much closer to the converting action. If you're generating leads for a business and then they just need to start closing these things out, especially in local service businesses, like, hey, I need a plumber right now, and Joe Schmo plumber is getting now 15 more leads a week because of these efforts. They're able to tell you pretty quickly which one of those closed within that window, right? So it's really, really close to the final converting action. You're not doing, top of funnel awareness content. You're not creating blog posts. You're not creating lead magnets like ebooks or white papers or whatever you have, like quizzes or anything there. You're generating interest from people who are in the consideration phase and ready to convert. That's powerful. That is very, very powerful. These are buyer-ready leads who are very acutely aware of the pain and the problem they need solved. That is why PPC works so well. It is people outwardly looking and asking for help versus other channels, like when you're distributing, top of funnel content, which are interrupting you, right? Like on Facebook, it's an interruption. They're trying to get your attention, and they're interrupting you from, looking at cat pictures and looking at your family. On Google PPC, people are telling you what they need and what they want. There's 2 major drawbacks to consider here. If you're going to offer PPC to your clients, and you don't have it currently in-house, there's going to be a team skill gap. And that's likely why most people on this call who aren't offering PPC yet, that's going to be a thing that holds you back. You don't know who's going to do the work, especially if you're having trouble scaling your operation as it is. The last thing you need to do is be onboarding new folks. One second. Something just went crazy on my, let me pause this. What is this? All right, that was weird. Sorry about that, everybody. I got a phone call that then triggered a video that was on my computer to play while I was talking, and I was hearing myself. Really weird. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're not going to be able to scale the business to add a new offering or onboard a team member if you're already stuck, if you're already having a hard time meeting demand. Like hiring is a long process. It's long, arduous, and takes up a lot of time. Like ask me and Avi how we know. We're going through it right now. It is a lot, right? So when there's a team skill gap, it's going to be hard to get to that end game in-house in the way that you'd want to probably if you're bolting on a service, right? And then additionally, the cost to fulfill. A Google Ads specialist in the United States with 4 to 6 years experience is going to cost you around $91,000. That's kind of the mid-range. And one of the things, and I'll tell you, at every job I've had to hire in-house for the paid role, it's taken me months to find the candidate. Months. That is, hours and hours of interview time, pre-interview work, and just follow up, like negotiations, and then seeing if they work. Because sometimes, they don't. They just don't. Yeah, at my last company, it took us 6 months, to get a PPC lead in. That was devastating, and it was an arduous process. We got them in, but they cost us about that. Granted, we were a much larger org, but likely you can't pay for that. So the cost to fulfill to meet the skill gap gets kind of tricky here. And kind of making the transition into what Avi's going to be talking about here is like how you can package PPC and how you can actually price it is in a way that you're going to be able to cover both the skill gap and the cost to fulfill. So I'll hand this over to you, Avi, and then I'll start digging into Q&A a little bit more.
Awesome. All right. So this we're talking about PPC, but generally, I'm sure you've heard this again and again, and we are repeating it again. You should productize all your services, right? Yeah, there it is. So yeah, it's like you should productize everything. A service should become a product. That is the only way to deliver. And so that's, so let's get into the next slide. And so some of you probably attended this webinar in past. We had given out this resource where we actually had these pricing guidelines for different services. If you did not get it, if you send email, or if you look back to our webinars posted on website, I think all of them, you will probably find this. And from there, you can get this resource. So we had actually listed, again, emphasizing that every service, what kind of prices to charge, it's useful to have that handy for you if you're running any kind of agency. So let's talk about PPC. So in PPC is the very specific thing which InvisiblePPC focuses on. That's what we do, is these are products you can offer. So one is, if somebody's already running a PPC and you want to win that over, you can offer an audit. And then if they go for audit, you can say after audit, or add on to that, you can offer a boost. And I'll talk about those a little bit, but in general, hopefully you get what is audit and boost. And finally, you can offer retargeting services, which are the cost per click is very low. And this is the traffic already came to your website because of an ad or otherwise, and they left. So you want to get them back. And then eventually the big main core offering is the monthly management service, right? So let's look at these packages in detail. So campaign audit. So we did go through in past about detail about what our audit is about and how we do audit. And our audit is not an automated tool, because there are many companies and services which you can go online and you can they'll just give you audit. In fact, Google gives you audit. If you're running an ad, Google tells you every day what you can improve. That's effectively an audit. But those are automated things. We found those are helpful for sure, but they are just never the complete picture. The only way to do the audit right is to actually a human being going and manually auditing this. So the best way to describe is, so when we, that's one of the things we have improved ourselves in the last 5 months or so. We were doing audit forever, but now I feel comfortable saying we have the best audit in the world. And if you find a better audit than us, I want to see it. Because, and this is based on our clients saying, initially they say, oh yeah, if somebody's doing free audit, you guys charge for audit, and they pay for it, and they come back and then they say, wow. And we have had no client after buying the audit saying, oh, this was not worth it. So we have, our audit is that detailed. So we cover everything possible, which a human being going through can look and find and how to improve. In fact, our audit is so good, we just take the audit, and if you know enough PPC, you can just go and implement everything and you're done. we don't know about the next month, what will happen. At least for a month or two, you'll be absolutely fine. And you will see the improvement for sure. And that's just because of this audit and the confidence in the audit that's where we offer the boost, which is the next service. And by the way, other reason our audit has this additional benefit is we have thousands per niche negative keywords. Negative keywords is something nobody starts with a list usually. Why? Because you just don't know what people will type. Negative keywords is what they come about as you run the service and say, oh, this one, we don't want them. So I'm going to add negative, but you already wasted the money. It builds up. So the fact we have such an experience, so we already have in advance thousands of negative keywords to start with, instead of guessing and waiting for the wrong click to happen and then adding keywords. So we include all that in our audits, right? So and so when do you want to use audit? So when you want to win over a client, this is a perfect tool. Tell them, hey, you're already spending $1,000 to $5,000 a month. How about we just for a few $100s, we will do the audit. It's just 10% or something of your cost. And if improves, your improvement will pay for itself, right? Within a month or two. So, and if you don't think the audit is worth it, then, we will, if the audit is really something good, then maybe you can give us business. If not, you don't give us business. We just take the audit and you can run with it. Either way, even if you have your own team doing it, an audit is worth it. So that's why it's a really great selling tool. So what do you want to charge for audit? So we recommend you should charge $500 to $1,000 for an audit. Initially, some of you might say, man, that's a lot of money. Yes, but you should remind them how much they will spend over a year. And they might, even if they're spending $1,000 a month, they're spending $12,000 a year. And that $12,000 a year, half or more could be wasted because they didn't have a proper audit. So it's actually a saving for them. And of course, as you from our price sheet, you probably know our price is the half of the lower end of that. So there is a pretty good margin for you, but you should not, the reason we really wanted to put this number out, especially if you're a new agency owner, there is a tendency not to charge enough. You get it from us at a good price and say, oh, I'm going to just add a little bit. No, at least double it, please. Please double it or triple what you get from us. And you can get this. There are agencies out there who are actually doing that right now. There are agencies out there who started with one client with us. Now they have 10 clients in the same niche, and they're charging these kind of 2x and 3x prices. So we can tell you that agencies are doing that. So that's why we decided, hey, we need to give guidance to our agencies, and especially if you're new. So that basically they're buying an expert service, which they cannot do themselves. And if by paying this money, they will get better results. So it just makes sense that they are actually saving them money by spending their $500 or $1,000. You'll save them more than 50% of their money. So it's like, it's a great buy that way. And it takes 3 to 5 days to get the audit done. All right. And the other one is a boost. So boost is a no-brainer once you do audit. Once you do audit, when they see this, so some will buy boost right away. Some clients will say we'll do audit and boost. Boost is we will not only audit, we will go and fix all those problems. But even if they don't buy the boost in the beginning, once they see the audit, they're going to say, oh, wow, man, this is like 4 pages of, 3-4 lines each, very specific thing, something I need to do. And it's technical. How will I do this? And we just kind of say, hey, would you like us to go and fix this? Whatever we found in the audit, we're going to fix it for you. And that's the boost. And if you fix it within 2 weeks, you'll see the results. So the boost just goes with the audit. They get the immediate boost in a jump in their performance, which is basically cost per acquisition dropping. We have seen cost per acquisition dropping 3x at times. And 50% drop is very common, right? So it just immediately that same $1,000 goes twice as far for that client. Their number of leads for same money doubles at times, right? So it's an amazing thing for them to see the audit and boost. And the idea is once they buy audit and boost, now you tell them, don't you want to keep these kind of results month after month, right? So that's really where we're going with this audit and boost. So these are great lead-ins. I mean, some will call it loss leaders. but we don't want them to be loss leaders. We want you to make money on this, because don't give these away free. So it just boost follows, and because they will see it, and okay, yeah, I think I've covered this. So let's move on. Right. So what to charge for boost is you can charge really quite a lot more, because now they have seen the audit. Now they'll be impressed. They'll be willing to pay a lot more. The reason the range is higher is depending on their budget. If they might be spending 15 to 20,000 a month. If they are, you can, for the same boost, same kind of a similar kind of work, you can charge much more. So you'll when you did the audit, like at the audit time, you'll already get in the report from us how much was their budget and things like that. So based on that, you can charge a lot more for the boost, because it is possible some who are doing this in-house might do the audit and boost and walk away. They might feel like, oh, they don't want to do anything more, right? So what will happen is that they might say, I've already got somebody doing ads in-house, or my cousin does it for me on the side. This is great, this audit and boost. I'm going to just take that and run with it. But the answer to them is, yeah, first, they missed so much opportunity for you. What will happen the month and the month after? Things keep changing. Somebody has to manage it. That's where you're selling the management service. But the best part of this is, if they do not buy, you still make money on the audit and boost. It's okay. They'll figure it out. 3 months later, when their performance drops again, they'll come back to you, right? So they might come back three months later or now, but you made money on the first transaction itself also. You know, the foot in the door transaction is just not foot in the door. Actually, you made money on that. So your time was not wasted engaging. Here is the other thing which you can give them. And we do that from our side to you, but you can offer to the client. You say, you know what? The setup charge for monthly management, we're going to waive this for you if you already did audit and boost. If you think about it, we have already done the setup for them, right? Once we do the audit and boost, we actually did the setup. That's what we do in the setup, right? Fix everything. And there are a few other things, of course, but it can be waived, right? I mean, a setup also has a new landing page and everything, but that they might see the immediate value. Oh, okay. I already spent that money. I go to management. I don't have to pay the setup, and I'll just have to pay it monthly. So it works really well. That's what we offer to you. You could pass it on, or you could keep it. And if you can sell it by saying, oh, yeah, okay, it's going to be set up again, great. Yeah, power to you. If you can do that. I mean, there is absolutely no reason not to do that. Okay. So moving on to retargeting. So retargeting is, just want to be clear on this. There's a lot of confusion on retargeting. I'm going to just simplify this. This is a great graphic. You can look through this, but I'm going to just simplify this in words for you. If somebody came to your website or your landing page and they left without doing a transaction with you by filling a form or email, those are much more likely if they are reminded about your business. The reason they might not have done that first time is because when they saw your ad, etc., they might be driving, sitting in a car or so. By the way, I mean, this is a true story. 5 years back, head of Google search was a guy who hired. He used to work for me at Intel. Then when I left Intel, he went on and he became head of Google search. So I asked him this question. I said, Chris, his name is Chris Meeson. He's moved on to do other stuff. I said, Chris, tell me this. Sometimes, man, the search is so good. I find something, but I'm busy. And those ad is very good. The ad gave me exactly what I want, but I cannot find the damn ad again. Because I want to go, I mean, that ad had exactly what I wanted, not this thing. But when I go and type it again, the ad is not showing up now because of the timing. And I wish there was a way, right, that I can find that. He said, oh yeah, I understand, but really, if they're not paying, I'm here not showing the ad anymore, right? It stops. There's nothing Google can do about it. So this is the answer to that question. They saw your ad, they liked it. They went to your website. So there was some interest, but they were busy at that time. For fraction of the cost, retargeting costs like 1/10 or lesser, you can get the same lead coming back to your website. This is what these are the retargeting is the ads which sometimes embarrass you. If you're losing hair, if you're looking for hair growth, and then when you're doing business, when you're looking at Google, you see the hair growth products following you everywhere. Right?
That's all I see. That's all.
so that's exactly what retargeting is basically. Once we know you had interest, we'll follow you everywhere. And our retargeting, what we offer is, it's a omni retargeting. So omni retargeting is, it's going to follow you on 97% of the internet. There's 3% we don't cover. We use for this ad roll. You can check it out. It is the largest retargeting company. So we use ad roll. What they do is they pixel you, and then wherever you go, they're going to follow you around with that image ad everywhere. So that's the retargeting we offer. So that's a great add-on service. Many times, this could be the entry point service. Some clients say, I already have some traffic. Retargeting is cheaper. Can I get that traffic back? Right? And let's get started with this. And then they start seeing results with this, and they say, okay, now maybe I want to do ads too. Right? So it can be paired with ads, or it can be done without ads. Keep in mind, for retargeting, you've got to have at least 1,000 visits per month. We recommend 2,000 visits per month, but 1,000 is a minimum requirement, because otherwise you just don't have enough traffic to retarget, right? So that's important. And that traffic could be through ads, and with ads, 1,000 will be easy to get, right? If you're already running ads. But if you're organic, ask them, check with them that organically, do they get at least 1,000 visits per month? Otherwise, retargeting on its own, it's not going to cut it, right? Ads plus retargeting will always work. So that's very important. So don't oversell on this, right? So what you should charge, again, these numbers are kind of double of what you'll be paying us. You can charge the range there, and monthly maintenance fees. It's a flat fees in this case, because the ads get set up in the display and they go on. So it's a lot cheaper than actual rest of the ad management. And their ad spend is going to be, as I said, 1/10. So here is where the budget they need for ad spend is just a couple of $100, not thousands. Even $100 is enough many times, like per month for retargeting. So that's the retargeting, right? And monthly management. So this is the core service. If you are trying to do a bolt-on service, those other things were somewhere teasers, they get you in, foot in the door. This is the service you want to aim for. Because once you get this service and once you're delivering, you will have what we have with some of our clients. 4 years, same client, same payment, no change. In fact, one of the problems we have with some of our agency owners is this. When we call them saying, hey, technology has changed, we want to build a new landing page, no extra cost to you, they don't respond. They keep paying us, they don't respond. Why don't they respond? They have had the client with us for 3 years. The client is paying them, they're paying us, they don't care. There's nothing for them to do. They're just collecting the checks. They don't have time to respond or don't want to respond. So we have to keep calling them, hey, we want to change this because it's working so well. So when this monthly management works, you keep getting the money. Client is happy because they're getting the leads. Anybody, if a client who stays in business, they're a plumber, if you're giving them 15 leads a month, there's no reason for them to ever stop. There's absolutely no reason for them to ever stop if they know how to run their business. That's what you want to aim for, right? This monthly management. So you effectively end up with kind of a recurring stream of income at that point once you set up, because we do everything, right? We will do the report, we will do everything. In fact, all you can do is you can just forward the report, which you get every month. And at most clients, the way they work, if they're getting the results, they don't even care about the report. As long as the leads are coming in, conversion happening, they just kind of, oh yeah, it's an email. I don't care. They'll come to you when if there is anything not working. So this is the end service, at least in a PPC world, you want to aim for, which is the monthly management. And even for us, it is a good service because once it's set up, we do tweak it every week and we look at stuff, but generally the changes and work is lesser once we have a good performing account, unless Google changed some rules, etc. Of course, that we have to keep up. So it's a win-win for everybody, this monthly service, right? This does include ongoing ad audits and managing the account, the landing page, heat maps, A/B testing, every month or otherwise when the performance goes down, we will do more landing pages and we'll use the heat maps. Everything is included. Our service also include click fraud protection by default in there, no additional cost. It gets you the phone number, call tracking phone number, all is included in one price for the monthly management. So you never have to worry if your client asks, hey, do we have heat maps? Are you going to be testing? Yes. Are going to be multiple landing pages? Yes. Ad copies will change? Yes. Everything is like, you can just say yes, 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 anything, anybody, anywhere you'll expect. And they will get a real-time dashboard, which is custom with their business name, which they can go any day and they can see their performance till today. It's not like they don't have to wait for monthly report. They get their own link, which is always live, and it's not a live Google Ads report kind of thing. It's a Google Data Studio nicely done report, which they can just kind of easily see how many conversions, what is the cost per conversion if the target is meeting, and how was it in past and service and everything. So that's what they get with this, right? So, all right, and yeah, it can be standalone, right, and by itself, or it could be add-on with the other services we talked about. Like, but this is the service you want to aim for in longer run once you start with that. And other advantages with this is that if you have a client who has multiple businesses, they get a break on that too. And we have agencies who have national clients. It's the same business, but it's in every market. It's like for them, it's an easy peasy business because every location is using our ad service behind the scenes. And the agency is in the middle sitting and managing all that relationships. And we do ads for that. And for us also, I mean, I'll admit it, it's a great business for us too, right? Because ongoing results, they stay with us forever. The whole franchise is handled by us behind the scene, right? So there is the monthly management, there is, as you add more clients, the prices drop. So that's other because any money we save, we pass on, so you can make more money on that also. So yeah, let's talk about pricing on monthly management, because this is the one where people get, and especially if you're new, you start getting worried about this. Oh, it's too much kind of a thing. So setup fees, we recommend charge 1,000 to 2,000. Again, the numbers are almost double of what you'll be paying us. If they have a monthly maintenance, we recommend you can offer anywhere from 750 to 1,500. I would recommend 1,000 as a good starting point for up to $5,000. So generally, let me explain how the model works for most PPC businesses. And I'm talking about PPC business or other business where we manage clients who have 100,000 to 400,000 a month ad spend. Even with those, how does it work? So all those businesses, they work on a percentage. They want a percentage of ad spend. So a good percentage with a strong agency is up to 15 to 20% of the ad spend. So it's a lot of money for 15 to 20% of 400,000, right? And for managing the ads, that ad budget. So that's on the higher end you can get there. But usually what happens is, as the ad spend goes up, starts going up from 50 to 100, the actual percentage you get paid goes down. You can charge the higher because you're doing landing page, and if you're doing copy and other things, then you can charge higher. Otherwise, generally, higher the budget, lower the percentage you will get paid for, because the idea is that, hey, you're not doing too many more campaigns, the same campaigns, you just have a higher budget. So why charge more, right? So starting point for most of the clients, most people will work with is up to $5,000 clients, $5,000 a month. It's a fixed flat fee, because the reality is whether you're 5,000 or 10,000, there is a base level of work you have to do. We have to do. On your side, you have to do for managing the client relationship. In our case, actually doing the ads and managing it. So we have a fixed flat rate in the lower end, right? And then so I wanted to show you this as this regressive pricing, how it drops. One way to think about is, say, what if we were talking about a 10% agency where you charge 10% instead of 15 or 20? So that blue line is the 10%. And that red line is what we charge you. So even if you went with the 10% one, you can see there's a lot of money. But we recommend go double. Yellow is the line we recommend, what you should be charging throughout. So, and that gives you a pretty nice buffer once you start going up at a higher end. Most of clients at InvisiblePPC we work with are close to 20, 25 I mean, on Kuvare side, we have larger clients, but Invisible PPC, white label services, most are 15 to 20. So at 15 to 20, if you look at what you can get paid at 20, it's pretty good chunk of money, like it's $4,000 or so, right? That yellow line there. So it's and so it's a very good business, and once it's set up, I guess it stays. So again, this is emphasizing the bolt on what Justin was talking about. End of the day, they want more business. If Google ad works and gets them more business, there's no reason for them to ever stop this, ever. So that's why it works really well. In fact, I don't have to emphasize why it works. That's the reason Google is a business what it is, right? That's the reason people, Google doesn't matter what they do, and they can do all the experiments and waste money around, but the Google ads always makes them money because it actually works. So it's as simple as that. I mean, you don't have to make any better case than that, right? So for the right businesses, it's absolutely there. So this is, yeah, this hopefully gives you the pricing thing. The big thing I want to take away for you guys is don't be shy charging that price. If the client does not understand the value, it's the wrong client. They don't understand their business value because you're producing that result for them. You're getting them those leads, right? So then it'll be a good business and you can get that service right. Okay. Moving on to
the next one.
Yeah. So yeah, this one was kind of a bonus thing, right? Justin, and we might, based on the interest, we might do a whole little training on this. But there is some fun stuff here. If you have time, I'll Justin, just kind of maybe at least that example, the one you wrote down.
Yeah.
You know, I would like you to go through that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, here's the thing, and throw it in the chat real quick. After I kind of showcase this thing here, we're thinking about doing a full training on really how to pitch, how to identify, and then how to pitch. What Avi had said there as well, which I thought was absolutely critical, was that if you have clients that are skeptical on some of the spend that's required to do this type of work, you don't have the right client. So this won't be this pitch will work for the folks that understand how important this thing is. So what do you want to achieve? So here's just kind of like a showcase of where I want to go with this. And I'd love to hear what else you want to learn about pitching, again, in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking here. So what every pitch you're trying to achieve here is you want to know the business and know their goals. You want to speak to the desired end result. You need to talk in numbers. Okay. That's all that matters to these folks is the numbers, right? And like what Avi said too, is as long as you're hitting those numbers and you're within those ranges, there's no reason for people to go anywhere else. In fact, and this is kind of more of a cynical view on it, they get kind of addicted to it. They have to pay the piper, so to say, to maintain some of those things that they want to be seeing. So they can't go anywhere. Ask me now how I know. Cover what's included and always line item when you're invoicing. So how we'd want to cover this entire training would also be to, like, even here's what you invoice with, like when you finally send that stuff over. So if that sounds interesting to you, we'll definitely start building that out. So here's how you'd want to, you want to have performance estimates, and you need to know how to use them. In a lot of the cases here, you might not have performance estimates to use yet. So if you're new to PPC or anything there, the good news is we do. So if you're working with us, you can actually use our complete database of ranges within our smart niches to tell you like what you can expect to see from a cost per click standpoint, a CPA standpoint, the estimated number of leads. Again, always in a range, always use ranges, and the minimum budget required. That is how you can really start talking their language. And when you're working with us, you're not on your own anymore. You're getting the luxury of our experience, and you're able to use that to your advantage because we're the ones doing it. So kind of you did it, right? Because your team's doing it. So here's the smart pitch template and how it works here. So you go, hey, Mr., Mrs., or Miss Client, if you want to predictably grow your business, PPC is the fastest and most scalable option. If you work with your company name, XYZ agency, we can get you a detailed prediction of the number of leads you expect, plus how much you're going to spend each month. We've successfully run ads put their niche in there for over 10 years and have loads of historical data. At minimum, and this is where you're starting to talk their love language, right? At minimum, you need to take our sheet, put minimum spend on ads to generate the bottom number of the lead estimate. Don't go top. Never ever lead with the best case scenario. because like stuff happens. Like Forrest Gump said it a different way. Like it was said a different way in Forrest Gump, but stuff happens, right? So we can get you the bottom number of lead estimate, new high quality leads. And as the campaign improves, you could expect to get as many as top number, right? Now you can future cast a little bit because they're going to be with you for a little while. And then you get this other caveat that's without spending an additional cent, right? That's showing the value of monthly management and why they stick with you. And so with each customer being worth insert value of their average customer, like that's why you need to know their business and understand kind of like what it's worth to them. How much would your business change? How much would this number of leads coming in each and every month change your business, right? Like, and that's starting to have them think about like their future casting again, and they're doing it with you there. So quick thing, I'm a huge Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul fan. So I thought I'd give you an example here with a divorce lawyer, even though, you know, he's not divorced, he's more criminal. But hey, Saul Goodman, if you want to predictably grow your business, PPC is the fastest and most scalable option. If you work with Acme Agency, you can get a detailed prediction of the number of leads you expect, plus how much you're going to spend each and every month. We've successfully run ads for divorce lawyers for over 10 years and have loads of historical data. At minimum, you need to spend $1,000 a month on ads to generate 7 new high quality leads. And as the campaign improves, you can expect to get as many as 18 without spending an additional cent. So with each one of your customers being worth 15,000, how much would your business change with 7 to 18 leads coming in each and every month? Bingo. That's speaking their language completely, and they'll understand the value you're bringing to them, right? So before we get into the one final thing here, just want to, again, thank everybody. It seems like a lot of people want a presentation on pitching and like how we want people to do it in general, as well as get our partners involved there. So we'll get that in the works. We actually do have already 2 new webinars booked in August and September. So keep an eye out for those. They're going to be epic. But one last thing for anybody here that's not currently an Invisible PPC partner, we do have a special offer going on. I'm not going to put some like, you know, it has to be done today or like false scarcity stupid in this case. Like just tell us, like if you get on a call with me or Chin, like just tell us you're on the webinar. We'll cut your partnership dues in half. And then we'll get you started for a little less than it was going to cost you to get going. So that's it there. We're at the top of the hour. Avi, you were right. We were going to be running this one tight. I'm glad we cut what we did. We could have a whole thing of like, we could have a presentation just from what we cut. But I do want to get Greg's question answered. And so Avi, can you open up the Q&A? I'm going to let you take this one.
Yeah. Okay. So Greg's question is, when selling monthly management services to existing PPC advertisers, in your experience, what percentage have contract with the current manager so they cannot change? How is this issue? So almost all PPC contracts are no more than 3 months. All right. And if they are not performing, including us, most have a way out. Because nobody wants to keep spending the ad spend, right? If they're not getting performance. So, which means there is no long-term contracts usually. PPC contracts are, unlike the consulting contracts, are shorter. In our case, it's a 3-month. For the same reason, the reasoning we say 3 months, hey, we set it up, we just don't want you to walk away. We set it up and it's going and you just want to use it, kind of a thing. That's why 3 months. So it's not that difficult for if somebody was working with somebody else after you do the audit to get them over, right? So, I mean, if they just started with somebody else, give them a month or 2 and you can turn them around with the audit, you know, and I mean, of course, if they are amazingly good, then audit is not going to show too much more, but we haven't come across a single time, and I do mean it, single time where audit did not show enough which could be changed. And it might be just chance of people who come to us because they're worried about their performance. So the data is skewed probably there, but audit will clearly show that.
Yep. And it's always important. Yeah, I can throw that link in the chat. It's also really, really important to explain to folks, like when you're coming in and you're trying to unseat somebody, don't be a jerk about it. speak very much to the end result, the business result, and have them start future casting to like to that like better end result that you can provide, because they're smart. They'll be able to see and read between the lines there of what they need to do with the business. Don't do the hard push there. Let the work show for itself in those regards.
Yeah, let's answer the questions while we're here.
Yeah.
So there was a question earlier which we had answered online that, hey, Google is giving away $10,000 per month. And I'd answered that it's only for properly registered nonprofits. By properly registered nonprofits, I mean is they need to be 501(c) and 501(c), and there is one other category, and they need to be an open register. If you properly registered with IRS and others, then there are some registers online which they show your name as a registered agency, and you need to be on good standing, which means every year the tax and everything is filed as 513. See, what Google does is Google goes to those databases when you fill the form to apply for the 10,000 grant, and there is no other way. You cannot submit paperwork to Google. Google will go and check those databases. They will actually tell you which databases they are, and you can yourself check those databases before you file. But if the 501(c) is in good standing, yes, it's not that difficult at all. Just few forms to fill, and you can get the $10,000 a month grant. So that's the 10,000 month question. I'm a numbers nerd. How many estimates, how many audits convert to Boost, retarget, and monthly management? Justin or Chinmay should answer this one.
Yeah, so I think Chinmay dropped off, and let me just I want to get to one thing in the chat real quick. It's just the link that's on the screen. That's in the chat. And then Greg, I'll shoot you a chat with a link to our complete smart niche list. So you'll get all that there. But what we're seeing right now, so the audit program in its current state is actually relatively new. At IPPC, it was purely before Avi and I took over. It was a mechanical audit that was just run kind of like with a script, similar to what you'd see like with those free types of audits. So we've completed, like with this being a brand new service, completed probably a couple dozen standalone audits, but the audit process is what we do for all new accounts. So for any account that we're in, we've run that playbook, which is the audit that we're currently offering as a standalone product. So far, around like we've converted everybody that takes an audit so far. I think it's around 80-ish% that are going to take a next step, whether it's Boost or they're in the pipeline for going into a managed service. So it's a really great foot in the door for us. And then obviously it's a great foot and it works for the client as well, because it's really contingent on if they're able to close that client. So that's, we don't have, I think it's still low numbers in terms of like how audits convert into Boost. Retarget, none right now, because we're kind of focusing on the monthly management side of things there. So we don't upsell into retargeting. You could, but we've had some fairly low traffic folks that we've done these for, where retargeting didn't make that much sense, since retargeting is a very specialized level there. But Dewey, that's a good call out. That's also another thing I should probably start doing a write-up on in general. And we should be recording that more, and something maybe on the operations side, Avi, we should be paying attention to.
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, but by the way, we love it. So it's not like the numbers you're making up. We love that offering, since we really got the audit improved to the level where it is, like where it is, wow. I mean, we're very excited about that. For clients, 3 months, okay, this is just what for B2B industrial companies that don't appear on your smart niche. So if there is just keep in mind, smart niche is a group of niches where we have a lot of data and a lot of very specific, because they are local and others. But we are a PPC company, which means if the PPC is done for a business, we do it, right? If the PPC works for a business, we absolutely do it. So this question for Andrew about B2B and industrial. So it kind of depends on which business. The best way is to sign up for beta. In case of beta, what we do is we actually evaluate and tell you, this is our best estimate. The difference between beta versus anything which exists is that there we already have the data. We don't have to run anything through Google and use Google's estimate. We just use our estimate. Otherwise, we'll run through and come back with our best estimate from Google that, hey, this is what it'll cost per lead. So that's so anything which is, if it is Google ads, we do it. Just that's a way to think about it. And specific industries, we have to test it and answer accordingly. Oh yes, yes, PPC Ad Labs and PPC Predict, we have the lifetime license to all of those unlimited licenses, because that's the part of the deal. We give them data, we get access to the tools, we absolutely use them ongoing basis.
Cool.
And
Shemaine had a question that when I was messing with things, you had skipped over there, Avi.
Yeah, for the clients who have never done PPC, 3 months contract. I would go for longer, the better, right? But minimum 3 months, absolutely. Because 3 months is enough for them to see it and they will love it and then they'll continue. So that's actually, you'll see the result within a month. After that, it's improvement, right? Yeah. So
in that case too, you could also take a page out of what we talked about the other day when we were talking about FCMOs too, where you could say, go for a longer, like 6 month with an out clause. If you're not getting performance, because nobody wants to begrudgingly pay anybody. It just turns into a sour relationship.
Yes, so I'm going to repeat that to simplify, because if you didn't hear, it might not be obvious. Tell them it's a year contract with the out after 90 days. Right? If they don't like it, they can cancel the contract 90 days. That gives you don't have to renegotiate. You already have the contract for the rest of the time if everything is working, right? Scientific instruments. We have some tests, scientific tests, which have done surprisingly well. So from an anonymous, that yes, if you go and sign up beta, we can definitely check that out. Yes, we do landing page is included in our service. Fully, it's done completely exactly for you. That's part of the service, part of the setup.
Yeah, everything you saw on, let me see if I can get to the slide real quick. Everything you saw on that slide, oh gosh. It's not going to work. That we said that was listed, that was included, that is everything we include. And then you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that includes all that for the price point that we do it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an attractive offer there. I know every time.
So
I don't think, go ahead.
I don't think we do, Justin, that's on us. We don't do good enough job explaining to people what all is included. We need some graphics, and like landing page question is a great one. And initially when I came on there, I realized that our material doesn't say that everywhere, even though it's included. I mean, it's not a optional. In fact, if you come with a landing page, we get a little upset about it, because man, if your landing page doesn't convert, then what are we going to do with it, right? So we want our landing page because we are responsible for the conversion end of the day. So we want to build the landing page for you always, and it's no additional cost. All right.
I think we got one more from an anonymous attendee, just asking for clarification of what beta is again.
Beta is any niche which does not show up on our list, which I posted there, smartniche.invisibleppc.com. Anything which does not show up there, all that means is we don't have 10 years worth of data. Instead, we might have a year or 2 years worth of data. So we want to just dig through and produce that. So we don't publish data unless we are completely confident. So any Google ads, any business which is not listed there is beta, basically. Okay.
Cool. And then just to answer one quick question I saw in the chat from Brian asking, do you still offer the 30 days proof over promises? That's we sunsetted the traditional 30 days proof over promises and we replaced it with Boost. Boost is essentially is that.
And Boost is 15 days, by the way. We get you the result in 2 weeks. We are so confident with the Boost that the results appear within 2 weeks, and then you can close. So that's and so one was the name confusion, another was other reason was that it's much more manual based on just beyond automation, because automation produced only so much results. So we decided to actually do it in such a way that the result is quick and exact.
Yeah, the marriage of technology and actual humans doing it. And then just a final bit of clarity. On betas. So it is essentially we've identified smart niches that we have a ton of experience in and have all the data for. When we look at expanding into areas where we have less experience, but we do initial research in that area to look at like what's the CPC, CPA, and those types of ranges going to look like, and whether Google search is even an applicable, like is even a useful mechanism for generating leads and business for the company. So we ask anybody that's about to work with us, if it's something that's outside of our standard smart niches, just fill in to give us a little bit more information. And I owe you an email, actually. You'll get that later today with more of that information.
All right. So we have gone over time. Thank you guys for waiting. And actually, the good thing about this training is the one way to judge how well it is doing is how many people end up staying in the end. We have almost everybody who started. We dropped only 4 or 5 of you dropped till at this point. So that's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you all
great.
very much.
Yeah.
Great. Have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody. And you'll be hearing from us with recordings probably around on Friday or Monday, depending on when we can get everything like rendered. And then rendering is easy, but then editing out kind of like the awkward early stuff during the webinar. So thank you all so very much. And you'll be hearing from us very, very soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.